Hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to this applicant seminar this morning here from Lille in France. I'm very happy that we have so many participants here in this meeting, and there's a good reason, because the European Urban Initiative have started a new call on two thematic partnerships on the urban agenda just a couple of days ago. And with this seminar, with this applicant seminar, we would like to provide you the possibility to understand the nature of the urban agenda, the content of the call, some technical details, and how to write a good application. Because on the 2nd of October, the call will close, and our objective is to receive good applications at this time. So I'm very happy that we have a whole team here in this room that is supporting us. We have our guests from the region here, from the European Commission, and our experts. So we have a whole group of people that will support us this morning for this seminar. But before we start, I would like to give you some technical details. We have received 400 registrations, so I'm very excited. There are lots of people, and it's nearly impossible that you get to know each other within this seminar. So we decided to start with a little exercise. You received in your email a link for Slido, and I would like to ask you to install now Slido on your phone, because this will be the possibility for you to answer the questions. We've received already many questions in advance from you, so thank you very much for this. And we included the answers already in the slides and in the concept of this applicant seminar. But let's do first an exercise with Slido. Take out your phone, enter the hashtag, and then I would like to pose you the first question. It's a little bit an Olympic spirit. Which country will be the first? And so the question is, which country do you work in? I haven't seen who was the first, but for sure France and Spain were one of the fastest. So we have, I see we have lots of participants from many countries from all over Europe. I see Lithuania is very well presented, Germany, Italy, Belgium, Spain. Also Norway. I'm very happy that we have our colleagues from Norway also here in this seminar, because you are eligible. Croatia, Belgium. Well, Belgium is very strong at the moment. Okay, this gives us a short overview on the participants from the countries. And now I would like to ask you for a second question. What type of organization do you represent? Are you a city, a regional authority, a national authority, partner state? We've seen here, there's Norway here in the room, research institutions. And I see lots of cities is in the room. That's very good, because it's the urban agenda. Okay, thank you very much. I think this is the first short glimpse of an idea who's in the room. And now I would like to pass the welcome note to our colleague Carlotta from the European Commission. Carlotta, the floor is yours. I'm happy that we have you here, and please unmute yourself.
Hello, I hope you can hear me. Good morning, and a very warm welcome on behalf of the European Commission, DG Regio, to this first seminar for applicants organized by UI on the occasion of the urban agenda for the EU call for partners for the two topics of water-sensitive cities and building decarbonization. The urban agenda for the EU was launched in May 2016 with the Pact of Amsterdam, and reconfirmed as a valuable initiative in November 2021 with the Ljubljana Agreement. The urban agenda is a multi-level working method and an institutional innovation which is promoting cooperation between member states, cities, European Commission and other stakeholders, which are working on equal footing as partners in a thematic partnership. The urban agenda proposes to involve urban authorities in both the design and the implementation phase of policy making. So the overall objective is to include the urban dimension in policies, and its implementation should lead to a better regulation, better funding, and better knowledge for cities in Europe. You will hear a lot about that. But what does it mean? Better implementation means better regulation means better implementation of existing policies, legislations, and instruments. Better funding, better known and user-friendly sources of funding for urban areas, and better knowledge, an improved knowledge base on urban issues. Well, the Urban Agenda is not a funding program, but is a way to increase the role played by cities at European level in tackling and managing the most relevant and pressing urban issues. For 3 years, participating cities, together with all the partners, of course, will be working on the spotlight and at the highest level in the European context to really mark a change. The call just open is a step in a process that started with the bottom-up proposition of the 2 topics we are talking about, and the elaboration of an ex-ante assessment, which has confirmed both the opportunity and the timing to set up now these new thematic partnerships. The building decarbonization topic, in particular, has been framed with much emphasis on the housing sector, which you probably already know is playing a pivotal role in the Commission political agenda, while the water theme is an important element of European Green Deal and is a cornerstone element of the quality of life preservation, according to the new political guidelines for the next Commission 24-29. So far, 20 thematic partnerships have been set up, and I've been working on the selected topics, and 2 are about to start now. 7 are still ongoing, and there is already a new topic under review for a future partnership. So in order to address our urban issues, we need motivated and expert cities, member states, regions, and relevant stakeholders. So we invite you to spread the news and apply. And I really hope to see you next January at the beginning of the next partnerships journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carlotta, for this overview. And you see the Urban Agenda has already some history. You said 20 partnerships has already done their work or currently working. So you will be part, when you're selected for a thematic partnership, part of a big family, European family that can work together on urban topics. Now I would like to pass the microphone to my colleague Nathalie from the region Hauts-de-France.
Okay, good. Yes. Sorry. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here in Lille, in Hauts-de-France. Okay. Thank you, Vanessa. We've got a lot of screens. Okay, so I have to read it. So I'm Nathalie Cos. I'm the representative of the Hauts-de-France Regional Council, the interested entity of the European Urban Initiative. The Hauts-de-France Regional Council, just for your information and to be clear with you, is a local authority in France, and we are one of the 12 regional councils in France metropolitan. We've got a president and we've got councillors directly elected by our 6 million inhabitants. The region Hauts-de-France have strong and strategic competencies in transport, economic development, planning development, education, training, and we are competence responsible of international and relation, of course, in European cooperation and projects. 89% of our population live in the influence of large urban centers. And to be an interested entity, it's a real responsibility at European level between you as stakeholders and urban authorities and between European Commission. So it's something very important for us as regional local authority, and because the confidence that the European Commission delegate to the implementation of the European Urban Initiative to the region is a strong responsibility, and it's an indirect management, meaning that we are not with member states involved in the management of the European Urban Initiative. We are proud to say that this is the first time that this type of indirect management is delegated to the region. And the European Urban Initiative, you have to know that because it's a new initiative in the scale of European policies, initiative and practices, and the European Urban Initiative is a key actor of the urban agenda. This initiative will support you during the entire duration cycle of the thematic partnership with administrative support, guidance, and external expertise from European community. The details will be presented later to you in the workshop. And to be concluded, I will say that the projects and partners reflect all the mobilization, commitment, and creativity of European cities to answer challenges and sustainable urban development of today and tomorrow. We share, as the Regional Council, the importance of the challenges that our European territories have to overcome, as well as the capacities for resilience and innovation. So I wish you, and I'm sure you will have to say that, a new, constructive, informative seminar, and we look forward for your all application and constructive and innovative application. I would like to thank you, of course, for your participation, and of course, all the team of the Permanent Secretariat, and particularly Jonas, Alexandru, Louise, Sofia, Isabella, and Vanessa for the technical support of the urban agenda and for the expertise they can bring you to help you to bring innovative partnerships. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Nathalie. I'm back in the pilot seat and we can continue our flight. I would like to pass the floor in a minute to my colleague Alexandru. I just would like to give you an overview on the content of the seminar. So we received many questions from you before through the registration form, and we see there's a need to give you an understanding of the context of the urban agenda, to explain you in a very good manner what the urban agenda is about, how the partnership work, what is expected from you as partner. And this is the first part of the meeting. Then we have a short question and answer session of 20 minutes, which is directly dedicated to urban agenda in general. And then I'm very happy that I can welcome Birgit, Georgi, and Stephen Lorimer, our two experts who prepared the ex-ante assessment and prepared also the call. We give you then the details of the call for the next two thematic partnerships, and then we will close the meeting hopefully at noon. Now I would like to give the floor to Alexandru, and just one more information. This session is being recorded, and we will upload the applicant seminar on the homepage. So if you are not able to attend the whole 2 hours, you will have then another possibility to have a look at the applicant seminar at a later time. So now the floor is yours, Alessandro, and let's start.
Thank you very much, Jonas. Thank you very much, Nathalie, Carlotta. It is a pleasure to see so many people connected here. In the next minutes, as my colleagues have said, I will try to present to you the urban agenda for the EU in a bit more details. I will try not to repeat too much what was already said, but I will explain in more details. And I want to start by underlining that this is a unique initiative which I had the honor to observe from the first moment of its inception, from the moment it was created. Then I had the pleasure to participate in 2 partnerships as a member, like what you might become if you apply. And lastly, since 2022, I have the pleasure to lead from the side of the European Urban Initiative the development of this, of course, on behalf and close cooperation with the Commission. With that said, I will start by emphasizing that the discussion about an urban agenda in the European Union at that time is dating back to the 90s. This is the moment where the ideas started to come together and people discussed that there is a need for it. We don't need to remember the names, but I would like to emphasize what is the foundation of this initiative. So the most important document that defines what it is and how it functions is the Pact of Amsterdam. This document was put forward during the Dutch presidency in 2016. And after it, there were two other documents that complement a bit and go a step further to explain how to develop it. This is Ljubljana Agreement from 2021. And after that, the Gijón Declaration from last year, 2023. I would also like to emphasize that in terms of European policy, those three foundations are strongly linked with the beautiful document of the new Leipzig Charter and the Territorial Agenda 2030, which have been put forward during the German presidency. As very nicely my colleague Carlotta was saying from the Commission side, indeed, Urban Agenda is an informal intergovernmental cooperation, and it's a working method which has at the core multi-stakeholder and multi-level cooperation. And in this setting, as the Pact of Amsterdam show us, cities are at the core of the discussion. They sit together on equal basis with member states, European Commission institution, European institution, and so on. But you will ask yourself maybe why? Why was it needed for such a thing? Well, the answer is simple. 70% of the European Union legislation is implemented at local levels, specifically by cities and regions. And this is a strong argument why this initiative tries to contribute to a more urban-friendly EU policy, a place where cities can contribute directly. If we look specifically at the objective, those are threefold, and they are defined as, first of all, realize the full potential of urban areas, establish an integrated approach and contribute to the territorial cohesion, and thirdly, involve urban authorities and the design of the policy. Again, and to summarize, Urban Agenda for the EU is designed to strengthen the role of cities in the EU policy, making and fostering collaboration between different levels of governance and stakeholders. To do that, they have been decided and clarified three pillars, which are better regulation, better funding, and better knowledge. Those are the directions where all the actions defined in the action plans, which I will talk later, are trying to contribute to. And to explain that, I will go and talk about the thematic partnership. What are these thematic partnerships? Well, thematic partnerships are literally the driving mechanism of the urban agenda. They are the force behind and the way that we work inside this complex initiative. Since its beginning, have been already established and did their work 18 partnerships. 3 of these, which have started long ago, still continue their work today independently. This is inclusion of migrants and refugees, the Partnership on Public Procurement, and Culture Heritage Partnership. More recently, the European Urban Initiative had the pleasure to launch 4 others. 2022, we did Greening Cities and Sustainable Tourism, and Food and Cities of Equalities have been launched last autumn, and they are already working. And of course, today we are looking forward to talk about 2 new topics, and the experts will go in details for that. I have mentioned that it's a space of equal participation, but who exactly sits around this digital and real round table? Well, we have European Union institutions, we have member states, we have regions, and I know many of you ask about this. We have cities, of course, again, at the center of this framework, and we have other types of organization depending on the specific needs. With that said, let me guide you further in how the work is and roles are structured. in order to make this efficient and effective, it was in time reach a very efficient structure. That means there is at least one coordinator established. Most of the times the conclusion is to have two to help each other. After that, they are partners that organize gradually in the process of working in working groups and then actions, and they always have a leader. And of course, there is the intention to have exchange between all that. It might be already sounding like a lot of element to consider, but do not get scared. We, from the Permanent Secretary, European Urban Initiative, are here on behalf of the European Commission to support you in all this process. And we put forward services to make your life easy and to make it possible for you to focus on the content and less on the administrative aspects. For that, you will have on your right side always a thematic partnership officer, and when needed and justified, we can put forward an external expert or several external experts to support you with technical aspects. All of this is covered financially by us in the process. To make it even more clear and detailed, the coordinators, in terms of their role, the coordinator will look towards thematic and strategic direction of the partnership and to make sure that the cooperation and dynamics inside the partnership are positive and constructive. Then the action leaders will take and define the thematic direction of the working group and actions, of course, in a co-design and co-implementation process. And then partners will contribute to the thematic role, and they could also decide to host events, for example. From our side, the Secretariat is always there to secure the support service packages, which are already defined and implemented, and to secure the operational direction and principle of how this work could be effectively done. For that, we already have an entire infrastructure in place that it's ready to go when you will start your work. The thematic partnership officer will assist you and guide the organizational and administrative support. This is a day-to-day support, so they will always be trying to be reactive to your needs. And again, the external expert we can hire when you need it to contribute technical knowledge. Going further, I want to emphasize beyond this very abstract way of structuring, they are people. They are experts, passionate about the topic, people that put their soul to improve things on the ground by cooperating European level. We meet digitally when needed, and that happens most of the times once per month. We meet in person when needed in different locations. That could happen on average around twice per year, depending on the partnership and their speed. We work in small groups, really hands-on, pen and paper, post-its, and debate and reflect on all possible ideas. We work in bigger groups when needed. We come together with several partnerships and debate in bigger settings. And when needed and justified, we go on the ground, analyze issues, reflect on opportunities, and tackle things from bottom up. Going further, I think it's justified to explain you a bit what to expect in this journey. What is the process? Well, today and in this period, we are in the call for applications. We have received this application. As soon as these are analyzed, the partnership is decided, the work will start for the members of the partnership. And that will happen in several phases. In the first phase, it will be an orientation phase in which you will try in a paper, in an orientation paper, to put together the most important ideas and subtopics you want to work on, based on your knowledge, your experience, your interest, and the mandate of your organization. That will gradually transform in reflection of what actions you would like to do and implement in this partnership. All of this will put together and try to be glued, integrated in a draft action plan. which, to secure that is of high quality, will receive feedback from many institutions. We're there to help you with that. And later it will be concluded in a final format. And of course, the aim is not just to define an action plan, is to implement all the action. For that, an implementation process will start, and we are there to monitor it and evaluate it together with you. How much time this should take? Well, according to the recommendation and the FRINI experience, it is ideal to have it in 3 years, but because we know that reality is much more complex, there is the possibility to extend it twice, each time for 1 year. So the actual work is between 3 and 5 years. After that, some partnerships continue under their own the implementation. And to make that a bit more concrete and result to what happens now, there are 2 partnerships that are currently transforming their draft action plan in a final format. This is the partnership on greening cities. I would invite you to have a look at their actions and their work to get an idea of what the actions could be and how this could be developed. And I would just like to mention one. For example, Action 3, which refers to reaching meaningful urban greening targets. And the history of this is linked to the recent approval of the nature restoration law by the Commission. And in this partnership, they would like to go in detail and clarify some of the aspects in order to have a clear guidance on how cities, for example, will need to implement this new law. There's a second partnership doing the same work, that is sustainable tourism. All of this is present on our website. Go there, explore. It's an excellent inspiration to know what can happen soon. And I would also like to explain, and I know this was mentioned by some of you in the registration, some of the benefit of participation in this initiative. So first of all, you have the unique opportunity to contribute to shaping EU policy in a recognized and structured way. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning, cities have been historically implementing a lot of the legislation, but they didn't really have a direct participation at this level. This format offers the unique and very rare chance to do that. Secondly, this initiative proved to be an excellent launchpad for funding opportunities. That means that cooperating here, being visible and working together, proved to be useful for new application of projects that could also end up with additional funding. And I want to give an example of how also the Commission tried in the past to align this. For example, several of the topics of the urban agenda had become subjects for innovative action projects. That was also before, but also more recently. For example, after the launch of the Urban Agenda Partnership on Greening Cities and Sustainable Tourism, the European Urban Initiative had a call open on this topic for innovative actions, which are real consistent funding for that. Going further, I will mention that it's an excellent visibility and recognition that you gain by participating at this level and with all the multi-stakeholders in the same time. Fourth, it contributes excellently to improve governance, and that helps you in basically ending up with better EU policies that you will need to implement in the future. It's an excellent networking collaboration. It offers the chance to reflect on solutions that you face locally, but with input from and experience from all around Europe. And as I said, it's a European-wide reflection, which allows us to better integrate work inside the European Union and European countries. And of course, like already you might know, it's an excellent knowledge exchange where you also gain information about good study cases. With that, I will want to emphasize a bit in more details how can we help you there. We have put forward, as I mentioned, an entire support service package, which comprises everything that we consider necessary for you to have a good and easy implementation. Today, I will talk about the most important, that is administrative support, travel and accommodation for urban authorities, provision of expertise, so external experts, and very shortly to mention, initiation phase, so the service to support you at the beginning, communication dissemination, and creation of synergies. Let me take it step by step, but I will focus today mainly on the third three. If you have questions and you would like more information, don't hesitate to put them in a couple of minutes and we will address them one by one. Furthermore, before I go on, I emphasize all of this is described in a fact sheet, which is publicly available on the website. You can download, read, and you can have a clear understanding what to expect from our side. To start with, in terms of administrative support, we concluded that it's good to have a thematic partnership officer who is tasked to assist and guide the thematic partnership, mainly the coordinators, with the key organizational and administrative activities and tasks. This person will focus on the day-to-day work and the operational functioning, and is predominantly administrative and technical support. That means that everything related to infrastructure, arranging meetings, preparation is done by them, so you have time to think on the topic and how can you make a real impact. The second element is travel and accommodation support. And this, to make it clear, it is a financial support we are able and happy to offer for you for two situations. We offer this to actively participate in the Urban Agenda Thematic Partnership in-person meetings, and this is to compensate for their limited resources. And secondly, that is to actively participate in the coordinators and action leaders in-person meeting, a specific group and meeting that we organize, or other events where we or the European Commission consider is valuable you to be present, and then we will invite you for that. For this travel and accommodation, based on the information from the Ljubljana Agreement, we have some eligibility criteria. So that entity needs to be an urban authority or an association of grouping of urban authorities with a legal status of organized agglomeration and composed by local administrative units. This is allowing basically different formats to be there. For example, in some cases it could be metropolitan areas. Furthermore, what is also important is that the maximum population is of 500,000 inhabitants. And of course, you might question why this context and these limits. Well, those are existing there because the Ljubljana Agreement emphasizes that we should support small and medium-sized cities. So this is why we have the mandate for this and not more for the moment. I will go on and also explain the provision of expertise service. Shortly, as mentioned, this means that we will be able to hire for you on your behalf an external expert. We offer up to 70 senior expert days per year, depending on the needs of your partnership. Furthermore, this is available to provide specific knowledge, know-how, expertise, or to produce a very specific output. And this is to be offered when internally you are not already having this resource available. From our experience, this number is more than enough. So far, partnership have managed to do a lot on their own. Lastly, very shortly, initiation phase refers to the fact that when you arrive and start your program, we are there to introduce you to all the infrastructure processes and key steps. We have an excellent platform and system of communication dissemination, which we manage, and we are there to make synergy on your behalf and in your interest between different urban agenda partnership and different institutions. For this, I don't go more in details. And now I will give the space to my colleague Jonas to continue the moderation, and it's the right moment to listen to your specific questions that you might have. So Jonas, your floor is yours.
Thank you, Alexandru, for the first overview on the nature of the urban agenda and the practical details of the partnerships. What I can maybe say as well is that the partnerships are in a very different shape. We have bigger partnerships, we have smaller partnerships. Some have 40 members, some have 20 members. So it's not set in stone how many. There is no maximum or minimum size of partners that come together in such a partnership. This will be then a later decision from the assessment process, how much partners will be there. And first, the question, Alessandro, maybe directly at the beginning, because it was posed sometimes in the past. If I work in a municipality and I go to my mayor and the mayor asks how much capacities does a person need as a partner to participate in such a partnership, what would you suggest to answer?
Yes. So based on the discussion we had with partners and coordinators and based on the experience of the last year, we have a well-informed estimation that as a partner, your most likely contribution is between half a day and 1 day per week in the partnership. And as a coordinator, that might be a bit more likely between 1 and 1.5 days of work per week. This is the information we get from the people active there. But nevertheless, as in any group, this is an average. Important is that you contribute with something there, and there are many ways in which you can do that.
Okay, thank you. I look now to my colleague Isabella. You have a look on the questions, on the incoming questions. We have now, let's say, 15 minutes to answer the first one. Please use Slido. You can see it on the screen. With a QR code, you can easily enter the passcode, and we will start to answer now the first question, which are dedicated on the urban agenda in general. The first question, Alex, you would like to answer, or Isabella, can you read maybe the first questions?
Yes, so actually we have already received quite a few questions, and there's the first one that was also liked by 4 persons. So is it possible to join an existing and still operating thematic partnership?
I will try to answer this, and I know our colleague Carlotta is also here. So Carlotta, if you have more recent information and want to complement, don't hesitate to stop me. This aspect is a bit different because the seminar today is specific for the new 2 topics that the experts will present in a second. It is something we have reflected about in the past. So I understand from the question that there is an organization that would like to join one of the active partnership, but not the 2 for which we can select now new applications. It is something, of course, to be done in full coordination with the partnerships, because no one is imposing decision on the partnership. So they need to have the will to be able to have such a thing, and we need to find a transparent way to do it. For the moment, I think this will require clarification in the right procedure to do that, but we take note of this interest, and what we can do is to coordinate, of course, with the coordinators of the partnership, the colleagues from the Commission, and return with a clear answer on this, which we will maybe also publish on the website, or if not, you will see at the end there's a dedicated form to submit questions, so then we can also have your contact and return to you with the answer. I think this is the based on the information I have, this is what we can say for now. But I understand the interest, and that, to be honest, that makes me very happy to know that people want to contribute to other ongoing ones. Isabella?
Okay, thank you, Alex. Isabella, maybe you can go to the next question.
Yes, we have another question. Can a stakeholder, like a private organization, send a proposal for a consortium, or is it mandatory to be a city representative?
I will answer on that, but also saying that very soon the experts on the topic for today will guide you in detail with all the eligible applicants. It is possible to apply as a profit organization. However, in the end, the partnership require a lot of other actors, as I mentioned before. So the decision to have a private organization in will be evaluated based on the quality of the application and to the horizontal criteria that we'll mention very soon. So you can apply, but as I mentioned, for example, cities are much more needed in such partnership than other entities. I hope I managed to make it clear. The experts will very soon talk in detail about these aspects.
Thank you, Alexandru. So we have another question. How many partners will form each partnership? How will the places be distributed?
Yes, thank you very much, Isabella. So based on the previous experience, I could emphasize, I could indicate some aspects. So in the Pact of Amsterdam, the recommended size was around 15, but it's not set in stone, 15 partners. In practice, the average is around 20 members in a partnership, including the coordinators. There are partnerships that have larger size, up to 30 or around 30, and partnerships which are much more smaller. For example, the Cities of Equality partnership is currently smaller. It's 11 partners, including the coordinators. The selection of this is, again, you will see the horizontal criteria. One principle is diversity and the chance for as many different institutions to join. If it's fine for you, I will come back to the horizontal, and we will mention shortly, and the experts will also do that probably in their application. So I think that will be covered very soon. Okay?
Okay, thank you. We have another question. Can we get funding to implement the action, or is the funding only to prepare the final action plan?
Okay, so according to the Pact of Amsterdam, it is very clearly stipulated that the urban agenda will not create new funding lines. Our representative from the Commission very clearly said it, this is not a funding line, but what the Pact of Amsterdam and the other governance documents indicated is that it is highly advised to use other funding sources that contribute to urban development in conjunction with urban agenda. That means, as I mentioned before, that in the past there have been several institutions that were part of a partnership and then applied for example, innovation action calls, also that we have the pleasure to organize. So basically, Urban Agenda is a platform for initiating the process, and then different funding sources contribute to the implementation of the actions. This is the current situation. So there is no direct funding for implementation. We cover via the support service just these elements, as I mentioned, dedicated thematic partnership, infrastructure, and external expertise. I hope I managed to make it clear also here.
Yeah, thank you very much. We have another very interesting question. Is it possible to be active in 2 partnerships at the same time?
There is no rule indicating that you're not allowed. From our perspective, it is fully possible to apply in multiple applications and to be part in both. Again, the evaluation is made by the quality of the application, and I will mention, and you will see it very soon in the horizontal criteria, it is emphasized based on this governance document that new applicants have a priority in being selected. So let's assume that 2 cities get a score of 10 points. I'm just making some example. And one of them was already in the previous Urban Agenda Partnership and the other not. The governance system of Urban Agenda had decided to offer as many participants the chance to be part on it. And in that case, the city which never been before in Urban Agenda will have a slightly priority in that sense. But there is no problem to apply for both calls. And if your application is good, you might be selected in both parts or be already in one of the past.
It's already the case, if I may compliment Alessandro. We have one city, for example, the city of Lisbon is currently represented in 2 thematic partnerships, one as a coordinator and one as a normal partner. What is not possible to be twice a coordinator and 2 partnership. This is not possible.
Thank you very much, Jonas. It's excellent addition indeed.
Yeah, I saw, Isabella, I saw another question I would like to answer because it's linked to another call. There was a question on the external expertise service. Is it the only EUI experts from the EUI pool that are eligible to be external expert? Yes, this is the case. And I would like to give you a hint that we have also in parallel a call open for the external expertise service. We are looking currently also for experts to be in the pool in the later stage, in the next time when this external expertise expertise is requested from the partnership, that we have sufficient partners or experts in our pool. So if you're interested as expert, please have a look also in this call. Okay, then let's go maybe to the next question, Isabella.
Yes, so we have a few questions about budget. For example, here's one about for research institutions, or I mean, who is, for example, eligible to receive some reimbursement for travel and accommodation costs. Could you maybe clarify this once again, please, Alexandru?
Yes, I will try to do that. So budget directed towards research institution. So Urban Agenda is not similar with Horizon 2020, which is a dedicated program with a lot of budget for research and innovation. In our case, to be eligible for travel and accommodation in the current context, based on the policy we have and we apply, I mentioned Ljubljana Agreement, we have the mandate to offer travel and accommodation for small and medium-sized cities. So currently, if you're a research institution and not part of a public authority or the grouping of public authorities that I was mentioned before, and again, the limit of population of maximum 500,000, unfortunately, we cannot do that at this moment. This is the framework in which we operate. That might or might not change at the point in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Then we have maybe a bit more general question about which thematic partnerships will open in January. So we will have a specific session on that, but maybe as the question was liked by 4 persons, you can clarify this at this point.
Yes, so this might also come, I think Carlotta very kindly underlined that. So indeed, now we have the call open for the two new topics, water and decarbonization. Experts will talk about that. I don't go in detail. Those will be approved and finalized with their format with the members by the end of November. There's this intergovernmental governance system that will approve it. And from that moment on, before Christmas, we from the permanent secretary will have a meeting, at least with the coordinators, to prepare them for this initiation phase. And then in January, it's most likely, based on the previous experience, to have a meeting with all the partnership members and basically to kickstart the work with all partners together. I think this should be clarified.
Okay, thank you very much, Alexandru. We have another interesting question. How exactly is the contribution to EU policy making done? What is the theory of change behind it?
Yes, I remember, and I suppose it's the same person I've seen in the registration, somebody mentioning about the theory of change. This goes a bit more complex to the history of how the urban agenda was agreed in this format, so the Pact of Amsterdam, sorry. And again, being an intergovernmental cooperation system on top and the governments, that means a lot of actors that coordinating themselves. I have not been in that meeting at that time, so that comes back before 2016. I cannot really say what were the background foundational principle and theory of change on which they consider. But based on the experience and the observation I had with the partnership so far, each partnership can on their own decide if they go on a theory of change more on the social side, more on the development side, or environmental. And I don't consider myself a researcher to go into the details of what a theory of change is and how it functions. I have a minimum understanding. But to go concretely on how they contribute to EU policy making, I give you an example. There have been several in the past where an ongoing debate about a regulation was considered, and the member of the partnership decided in one of the action to contribute with recommendation, with feedback, with proposal on how that specific element could be improved. To make it more concrete, and it was one of my examples, currently I mentioned that the Green Cities Partnership have one action that will look towards the green component in urban areas, and that is directly linked to the approval, very recent approval of the new restoration law. So what they do in cooperation with the Directorate General of the Commission and the institution is to go in one detail of that law that is currently not fully covered and define what it means and offer a guidance document for the future, for example, for municipality, which will help them to implement it. So this is a way to contribute to the EU policy making. I hope I managed to explain it well. If not, let us know in the form, and we will try to come back in writing to this question again.
Maybe just a short complementation, Alex, on that. As you said at the beginning, the EU Urban Agenda is a contribution to make the policy setting urban friendly. The European Union itself has no competence on urban planning. It's on the side of the member states, but there are a multitude of different legislations that has a direct or indirect effect on the cities. And the Urban Agenda and the partnership has the chance to contribute to say how we can improve this process and this framework. And this is the core, one of the core points of the Urban Agenda. And you will have the chance in this partnership to discuss these issues with the Commission, with the member states, with other cities, and this is the unique policy framework you work in the Urban Agenda. I'm looking a little bit on the time, and I see some redundant questions, but maybe there are 2-3 more we can answer, and then I would like to start with the focus on the call itself. Isabella.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Jonas. So we have another very interesting question. Partnership leaders are expected to dedicate 1 to 1.5 days per week to the partnership. What about other partners that are not leaders? What is their expected contribution?
Yes, so this was an estimation, 1 to 1 days and a half for coordinators, those that apply to be coordinators and are selected. For the rest, as partners, it's, as I think I said it, between half a day and 1 day of work per week estimated. That could vary a lot. And that is either for action leader or a simple partner contributor. So this is the best information we have so far by asking the partners.
Thank you, Alexandru. Then we have another question that was liked 10 times. Could you maybe clarify once again regarding, is there any requirement in terms of financial commitment for the city to become partner, or in general, I mean, what kind of funding or financial support is in it for cities and or other partners?
Yes, so I understand the question is if the cities need to secure financial commitment to be part of it. For example, it was a question also for co-funding. There is no co-funding. You do not need to prove that you're able to bring a certain budget in. There are no documents about your financial situation contribution that we ask. Nobody's doing that. The only indication we'll see in the application form, we will ask you to estimate what you expect to put forward in terms of financial estimation and human resources. This is a declaration. It's your own estimation. It's just to see that you have a realistic idea and to know what you'll expect to the other partners. But we do not ask any official financial document. You do not need to sign any document on the side, and it's currently not foreseen.
Maybe one compliment. Thank you, Alessandro. As you've seen from Alessandro's presentation, we set a very comprehensive support package. So the majority of work, writing the agenda, writing the minutes, and some communication aspects, this is all done by the Thematic Partnership Officer, who is paid by the UI. And so your contribution is fully on the content. It's a dialogue process. It's you are able to contribute to the EU dialogue process, and you just need to focus on the content. There are no reports you have to write every 6 months. It's purely the possibility to step into this dialogue process and to contribute with your experience and your messages from the ground. Maybe one more question, Isabella, and then I think it's time to continue. Anyway, we have another question and answer session at the end of the meeting. And if we haven't answered all your questions during the meeting, you can always send us an email.
Yes, thank you, Jonas. So the last question would be very concretely, apart from visibility, network, future project help from the EC and governance, why should we apply? Because there is no funding.
Yeah, I think it's very mature and legitimate question for all the applicants. And of course, any manager will put the question where we put our resources and where I should send my people to work and so on. I will try again to underline. It is one of the very few formats where cities especially sit on an equal basis on a round table with member states, European institutions and other actors working towards better regulation, better funding and better knowledge, and basically influences that process. Because they implement, as I said at the beginning, 70% of the EU legislation on local level. We understand that this opportunity maybe will not fit with your particular needs now, but it is the unique setting where this can be done. Very shortly, just in keywords, I will mention others, and maybe we'll put it in the question and answer document. Access to better practice and knowledge sharing, funding opportunities linked to this as a future, improve multi-level governance, enhance capacity and innovation, targeted solution for urban challenges, networking collaboration, greater visibility and alignment with global urban agendas. We will try to detail this, and from experience, those that have been in urban agenda had made a huge positive use of all other opportunities put forward by European urban initiatives, such as that city-to-city exchange, peer review, innovation action call, and knowledge from the portico. I will stop here just because of the time, but Jonas, Isabella.
Thank you, Alessandro. Let's make a break here from the first questions answer session. I thank all the participants for a very good and very interesting questions. I think this is from our experience from previous workshops the most pressing ones, and we were happy to answer them. Now we would like to focus on the call itself, and we provide you the technical details how to apply, and then I'm happy to invite Birgit and Stephen to explore with you the concrete topics of water sensitivity and building decarbonization. Alex, the floor is again yours, and then after that you're relieved from speaking a bit.
Thank you very much. I will try to be short and to the point and stay in the time we reserved. So currently, we receive application for 2 new topics that have been decided in the intergovernmental meeting. That is water sensitive cities, and the second one, building decarbonization, integrated renovation programs, and local heating and cooling plants. To simplify it, how you can do that. The first step will be to familiarize yourself with the call details. That you can do in more details by reading the background document. It's a fundamental document to understand the call and to secure that your application is well aligned with the expectation and therefore get higher score and maybe get in. And the second document, ex-ante assessment, I will very shortly mention them in a second. And the second step will be to access and fill in the application form. Is the only way to which we receive the applications, not by email, not by post. It's via the EU survey dedicated, which my colleagues have very carefully worked in, and they put a lot of attention. 2 words about these key documents. The background document, which the experts have been provided under our coordination. They present the call context and the selection process. They go in detail and look on the key aspects of the thematic focus. So what is under these topics? One is bigger than, more complex than the other. The category of partners, this comes back to the question we had before, who is eligible and how. And the selection criteria, they will explain it in detail. I will just put a general framework. The document is publicly available online. You can download it and have a look, and it's very recommended to read it. Now, if you would like to understand in more details the topics and to have a better understanding, the expert did an excellent job in a very short time, and they present in this document the full analysis of the topic. They very nicely underline trend and evidence. They talk about regulatory environment. They do the mapping of the regulatory environment, and this comes back also to the question before. And they did some recommendation for future thematic partnerships. With that said, the last thing I want to underline, as I said, my colleagues here together with Isabella, Sofia, Luisa, they work intensely to prepare also the survey. You have preliminary information at the beginning, so we understand who you are. You will be asked to indicate if you want to apply for a partner or as a coordinator, to be a coordinator. We will ask for details so we are able to contact you back. And then you have, if you apply to be a partner, you'll have specific selection criteria that you'll fill in. If you're a coordinator, you'll have a bit more. And I will indicate that here. Again, there are 2 main criteria, the horizontal and the specific. For the horizontal criteria, as I said before, the key idea is to have diversity, to allow as many type of organization and levels to participate. The second diversity is in terms of size of cities. We will need to have at least 1 small and 1 medium-sized city. Then it's about geographical balance, so to have as many countries represented and geographical situations, so I mean coastline, mountain areas, hilly areas, and so on. In terms of prior involvement, as I said before, organizations that have never before been in an urban agenda partnership will have a small priority on that side. Coordinators, at least 1 of them will need to be a city and will be maximum 2. And just short to conclude, in the survey, you will see for partners 3 main criteria of information. motivation, expertise, outreach, resources. They have dedicated questions. And if you're a coordinator, on top of this, you will also have questions about project management, commitment, and the kickoff meeting. And with that, I would let the moderator introduce the experts and let them guide us in the details of the topic. Thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you very much, Alessandro, for this contribution. And now you're relieved from speaking. I would like to add that the working language in the urban agenda in the partnership is English. So this is the same for the applications. We only accept applications in English. Because you have to work in English, you have to prove that you are able to follow the content of the work in the partnership, and there's no translation provided during the work. This is just a small addendum to make this clear. Now I would like to pass the floor to our colleague Birgit. Birgit, you were focusing on the topic of water-sensitive city, and now I would like to ask you to explain what can we understand of this topic, water-sensitive city, and what you suggest the thematic partnership could focus in the next 2-3 years. Birgit, the floor is yours, and please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this great opportunity to present here. And finally, after having done so much work with the ex-ante assessment, background paper, and so on, seeing all the cities coming together and interested in this topic, the topic of water-sensitive cities. What is the situation? You know it probably better than I. Many cities experience too much water or too little water. And it's not that the south has too little water only and the north has too much water only. At different times over the year, many cities are challenged by both. And that makes it extremely difficult to manage with conventional approaches. Major drivers of the situation is climate change, but also new urbanization pattern, urban sprawl, land use management, but also the state of water infrastructure. And what we can see is that the conventional way of managing water in cities does no longer work. So just supplying water and getting rid of wastewater is not the way forward. What we need is a transition to a water-sensitive city which manages water in a circular approach. And that could make water from a problem towards being the solution itself. And one of the big questions was there are so many subtopics linked to that, and how could a thematic partnership manage all that? So there's really a need to focus that. And what I proposed in my ex-ante assessment is to center the perspective on water quantity, so on excessive water and water scarcity in cities, and then taking the whole thing from there, going to what does it mean for wastewater treatment challenges and related energy demands? What does it mean for the quality of runoff, of surface water, of groundwater? And then again, what for the quality of life? So center it. I know there are many more topics which could be linked to it, but I think you have to focus in order to make really progress. And focus on how to design cities water sensitive. And I gave a couple of recommendations presented on the next slide. On better regulations, better funding, and better knowledge, that's a structure. So there are many EU regulations already in place, but none of them specifically on the topic of water-sensitive cities. So there are regulations and policies on water, on urban, on climate change, and so on. So the idea is to figure out how to better mainstream the water-sensitive topic into these existing and ongoing policies and regulations, which are often also combined with funding. There is already an initial mapping in the ex-ante assessment. And then exchange practice on multi-level and territorial approaches, because cities themselves on a purely local level cannot solve the problem of water. On better funding, we hear very often we need more funding, but there is already a lot of existing funding available, and it could be a task to analyze the options for better use of that existing funding. And in addition, to collect practice on other types of financing, innovative types of financing. What I could also see from the analysis is there is a huge bunch of knowledge on water-sensitive cities, on solutions available, but it is scattered across different sources, across different countries, institutions, and so on. So what could be done there? You could create a better cross-sector awareness for the opportunities of water-sensitive cities. So going out of the domain of urban water management, but also linking to nature, to health, to the economy, what are the opportunities for them, and then getting at them as allies in the process to support it. Improving the access to knowledge on the solution, exchange good practice, not just on the solutions, but also how the national and regional level can better enable cities, can create a better framework for them to implement actions. And then, of course, questions like capacity building and improving data and indicator that describe water-sensitive cities and level of achievement. So that's in short on my topic.
Yeah, thank you very much, Birgit, to give an overview on the topic of water-sensitive city. I would like now to invite Stephen Lorimer. You are the expert on the next thematic, and it's the building decarbonization, integrated renovation programs, and local heating and cooling plans. I think it's the longest name of all the partnerships we have. And you can explain us a bit what's behind, what we can expect behind this headline. Thank you, Stephen. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. It's so Jonas said hello from Lille over in France, and I'm actually just across La Manche, as they call it in France, over in London. And actually here, and I'm just going to take 30 seconds here and say London has been in the center of building decarbonization in the news worldwide over the last day, because an independent report in a fire in a housing block that killed 72 people was released yesterday. It took 5 years to get there. And it was something that was done as part of building decarbonization for energy efficiency. And it shows what can go wrong if coordination is not happening, if governments get so focused on saving money and the voices of people that are involved in that are the occupants are not listened to. And so it was a reminder to all of us how much really needs to be done across governments, the private sector, and working with industry. And that's why building decarbonization is so important, not just for climate change, the energy grid, but the safety and security of the occupants of all those buildings. So 30 seconds done. And I would say that the scope is was set and the long name is sitting there, because we know that a lot of cities across Europe are grappling both with the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive and the new guidance inside for cities to really explore integrated renovation programs. And what are those? Those are examining what are the cost-effective measures that can be done for buildings that are spatially related in spatially related blocks. And that's going building by building or even property by property, and actually how cities can help building owners, both themselves as the building owner and also the private sector as well, to do it in more to renovate in a more integrated way and accelerate the rates of renovation. They're also dealing with the Energy Efficiency Directive and the requirement for any city over 45,000 to have a local heating and cooling plan. And that is going a bigger, wider strategic scale, like what does a local development document look like for a city or a group of local authorities to be able to coordinate district heating, other programs that need to be done in the future. And of course, on top of this is the future electricity market design. We're moving so much energy onto heating, so much electricity demand, creating it through heating and cooling for electrifying heat in buildings especially, and creating flexible energy resources, solar, batteries that work with electricity grids. How does that support the decarbonization of those buildings as well? So that's the kind of larger thematic scope, and let's go a bit more in detail. Next slide. And start thinking about the pillars that we set around better regulation, better knowledge, and better funding. Of course, as I said before, that you're trying to create, you're trying to use the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive to create integrated renovation programs. Well, what criteria does a local authority use to identify them? And how does that support that integrated renovation program, support the local heating and cooling plan at a bigger strategic level? And of course, we've been through many years of one-stop shops for energy efficiency, for supporting individual building owners to be able to to renovate their buildings. Well, how do we actually do that at scale with building, not individually one by one, but in a more coordinated way that could even mix private and public sector owners of buildings? And that's how do you actually make that support real and make it understandable. Let's put it that way, understandable for everyone that's involved, because the complexity increases once you have spatial related buildings that are involved. Of course, we're also thinking about the regeneration of the city as well. How does it impact on urban regeneration for the social and economic goals that a city has, not just the environmental ones, and also the impact on climate change adaptation, because this isn't all about mitigation through reduction of energy use or the use of renewable energy more effectively as it becomes more abundant in the future, but the adaptation and resilience of that city. Next slide. The next subtopic really focuses on the market, every national market, but also there will be, there is future work that's coming within the Commission on the future electricity market design, how you influence that in the future. Communicating with renewable energy communities, that's one part of the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive that you have to take into account in creating your integrated renovation programs, and of course how those heating and cooling plans that are being designed by cities or implementing fund infrastructure. There's grid reinforcement costs that are involved with that building owners are shouldering, and also energy flexibility services that could be ones that they take advantage of and create income through the renovation of their buildings in future years. Those are all things that kind of lead into the funding side, and of course, the cost effectiveness of those spatial related buildings is something which is expressly put into the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, which I can add for a second was being finalized while I was writing with Jonas and Isabella the ex-ante assessment. So it was almost you were designing this live as the legislation was being completed and revised, and those questions that the EIB or national infrastructure banks are asking about, well, how do we create a blended finance for implementing integrated renovation programs? How do you actually lever in that private sector investment and use the public sector to de-risk and provide that confidence in the market to bring them forward? Because this partnership is about how you actually bring forward renovation across all buildings in a city, regardless of ownership, and not necessarily just the ownership of the buildings under your control as a city. And then finally, promoting those economic benefits of renovation fairly and equally. A lot of some of the territorial impact assessment, one of the comments that came out when it was being done on the energy performance of buildings directed by ESPON was that, especially in Southern and Eastern Europe, those who were already economically ahead were benefiting more than others, and also across Europe, people that lived in smaller and medium-sized cities, again, those who were already economically ahead tended to benefit more than others that were a bit behind. So those were things to keep in mind as well. Let's go to the next. I'll hand back to Jonas.
I think we make it just a short break. I would like to mention a few things and then give you again the floor, Stephen, to you. The topics suggested by Stephen and Birgit are the results of the ex-ante assessment. And the ex-ante assessment, the purpose of this ex-ante assessment was to look on the huge scale of existing initiatives, topics on these two themes that are currently on EU and national and academic discussion, and to summarize and to give some recommendations or suggestions the partnership could focus on. But the single orientation and the actions, the definition can be adjusted. It's then on the side of the partners when they are selected to decide by themselves in which direction the partnership can go finally. And there's no need to cover all of them. You can adjust it, but Birgit and Stephen has done a very, very helpful first step, helping the partners that they don't need to start from scratch when they start to work. It's just a little addition to and explanation how you can consider this content. And now, Stephen or Birgit, I don't know who would like to continue. Maybe Stephen with the categories of partners.
I think it was to me to continue, and I'll hand back to back to Birgit again. Excuse me.
It's Birgit, sorry.
Okay, so there has already been the question, what are the categories of partners in such partnership? And in the case of water-sensitive cities, they should, of course, be linked to water management in cities. And up front, there are cities of all sizes, small cities, medium-sized cities, and large cities, as well as metropolitan areas, functional urban areas, and agglomerations. So there we are very keen to have as many as, not as many as possible, but have a huge bunch of cities in this partnership, and there should be at least one small size and one medium size in it. Then beyond that, also regions and regional development agencies could become a member states through their relevant national level ministries and agencies. Could it be on urban or on water or environment? It really depends on the member states, but the same holds for the partner states, Norway and Switzerland. And then we have European and national city umbrella organizations. And finally, we have a category on the next slide, other stakeholders, which could be NGOs. I think that was also a question earlier. NGOs with the specific focus already mentioned. Other local or regional entities related to water-sensitive cities, such as water authorities, water boards, river basin district authorities or similar. Then, of course, academia and research centers and EU organizations dedicated to the topics, social, economic partners and businesses at different levels, at EU level, at national level, as well as city level and also national associations that represent local governments, in particular smaller and medium-sized city. As we know, it's more difficult that they participate themselves. So there are many different categories, but having said that earlier, cities have a priority because it's the urban agenda, but the others are also very warmly welcome. And then I think it's to Stephen.
Yeah, I think this slide repeats what was said before, so I think we can go to the next slide. And there's some additions that are slightly different from water-sensitive cities. Of course, we're looking for urban planning institutions to participate as well, because there's very much an urban planning, urban regeneration focus that we have. We know that many cities or many member states have associations of building owners, both especially in housing. And of course, we know that many of member states have trade associations for renovation and the energy transition that are focused on delivering the work, and having that communication with those who are doing the delivery is important as well. The rest, I think, is a bit of a repeat of research organizations and academia that is focused on the energy transition, grids, building renovation, and project management. Next slide. And I think we'll come back to Birgit again.
It's again, what are the specific selection criteria for water-sensitive cities? So meaning the selection criteria on the topic. First of all, we want to know what is your primary motivation to participate? Is it sharing own experience? Is it learning from each other, willingness to contribute to EU policy, and so on? Please show us what motivates you, and also support that by short examples, concrete examples. And then the specific criteria expertise has a couple of questions, and is, I would say, one of the most important here. That is on your experience and your expertise on the topic. And we have listed there different subtopics like working in EU regulations or knowledge on existing EU and other national funding, and so on. It's not necessarily that you have to have experience on all of these subtopics, but on one or a few of these. So don't be afraid or shy away if you cannot tick all of them. That what is more important, that you show us by concrete example what your concrete experience is there, what your role has been there. But be short and precise, that we really understand where you come from, where you stand from. And then there are even some more specific criteria, like what is your experience in transformative urban water management, or do we have more experience on collaborative multi-level governance in terms of water management in cities? That should be answered in the same way as explained before. There are two more specific criteria, which is the outreach. So, and the fourth one is on the human and financial resources that you will intend to dedicate to it. Again, said, make it for us as concrete as possible, make it short, because we have to read through all of them carefully, but make it precise, that we understand it. And now it's Steve.
I won't repeat a lot of, I'm benefiting from Birgit saying things in general the first time around, so I don't need to repeat this, but of course, thinking about the expertise that you have, of course, renovation programs you run before, district and neighborhood approaches to renovation, like even better, that you might have experience with, and of course that those who have done energy master planning, the kind of documents that or studies that you've done in the past that probably supports local heating, cooling plans as they emerge in the future. That's something which is a positive previous expertise that you could bring to the table. We're also saying, and this is something which might generate some questions, the criteria of local authorities, that we're asking local authorities to say whether they anticipate that their integrated renovation programs have a balance of residential and non-residential use, and that's to make sure that there's a balance of social and economic goals that are being covered within renovation programs, that it's not concentrated in one sector or another of that city, or one particular type of renovation program or another, to be able to provide that balance across. And this has been discussed many times internally and within the Commission, but we made a decision that we wanted to see that from local authorities, that they were thinking across like multiple situations of integrated renovation programs and spatial related buildings in their city, especially as that for most European cities, about 60-70% of the land area is mixed use anyway. And if you're talking about spatially related buildings, of course, you're going to have multiple uses of those buildings. And that's why we asked for that criteria. Next slide, please. And of course, for the coordinators, we asked for a bit more information about their ability to project manage not just themselves, but multiple stakeholders, remote stakeholders, other cities that are involved, their commitment, and this is the amount of commitment and, again, human and financial resources they can put in place, and an idea of how they would get things going, because it's really important to get going quickly at the beginning, and giving us confidence that you can find your feet really quickly in the kickoff meeting, because you have an idea of what that plan is and how you get things moving quickly, is really important for us. Not saying that you're dictating how it's going to happen, but because of course you have to work with others, but how you actually might kickstart the partnership. Next slide. And of course there's criteria that we use across all the applications to be able to make decisions on who to make the award to, and we do this with the secretariat, with Jonas and Isabella and Alexandru and the others, and part of that is, as Alexandru said before, we're going to make sure that there are going to be at least one small city and one medium-sized city that come through into the partnership. That balance between regions in Europe, having prior involvement in the urban agenda, a mix of those who've had prior involvement and those who haven't. Those are all parts of the horizontal criteria. Jonas, is there anything you want to add to that? Just to make sure I cover the bases on horizontal criteria.
No, I think you did it very well, and Alessandro also explained from his experience from the selection processes. Maybe before we start with the question and answer session, I would say in 10 more minutes we can dedicate 15 minutes depending on the incoming questions. First of all, thanks a lot, Birgit and Stephen, for your excellent work you have done so far. This was extremely helpful, and also for your explanations. I hope many things came clear. I invite everyone to look at the background paper, because this is the legal basis for this call. And if you would like to have more information on the on the topic itself, have a look at the ex-ante assessment. But there are no additional information in the background paper on the topics that you cannot find in the ex-ante assessment. For the selection process, because I remember there was one question in the last session, how does it organized? We show you the timeline later, but the selection is being done based on the selection criteria. We propose a composition to the governance structure of the urban agenda, and they will then decide by November on the final composition of the partnership. This is the way how it was done in the past. We will do this the same way again. So it's a common decision by the Commission, member states, and the EU Urban Umbrella Organization on the composition of the partnership, and we will support the whole process from EUI together with the experts. And now I'd like to give the floor to Isabella. And Isabella, are there any questions that came to us?
Yes, we have already received several very good questions. So maybe the first one for Birgit about the categories of partners that can apply. Is an integrated water service company eligible for water sensitive city?
Yes, after my reading, it is eligible. So named other stakeholders. Yes.
Yes. I can confirm this. You're absolutely eligible. You're part of the other partners if you find this in the application form, and so you can apply. So next question, Isabella.
Yes, and then another one, maybe for Stephen. As an NGO, is there an option to join the Decarbonisation Partnership as an expert consortium member? So are NGOs eligible as a partner?
Yeah, we described different types of NGOs that are eligible. I mean, I don't know what type of NGO you are, but in general, we name different types of NGOs that are eligible.
Maybe I can complement because I remember there was a question from the last round. It is not possible that you apply as a single person. You can only apply as institution, and the institution as they are listed in the background document. And we have explained Alessandro, Birgit, and Stephen in their presentation. This is maybe just an additional information. Okay, thank you, Isabella. Maybe the next question.
Yes, a more general question. How are partnerships formed? Who chooses the coordinator and who will be the lead or a normal partner?
Would you like me to take it, Jonas?
Yes, maybe I start, Alex, and you will complement.
Perfect.
Okay. As I described before, the process is that we, together with the experts and the Commission, we have a first view on the assessment and make a suggestion for the composition based on the selection criteria. This will be proposed to the EU governance structure, and there will be questions, and we will discuss together on the proposal on the formation of the partnership. The coordinators will also be selected by the selection criteria. You see that you have specific selection criteria in the questionnaire. And who has the highest ranking is going to be the coordinator. It's a very transparent and very open process and very democratic process, I would say. So this is for the composition of the partnership. Alex, I'm happy to compliment if I have forgotten something.
Yeah, just to finalize here. So indeed, in the survey, you will also see I apply for coordinator or for partner. So that's the first indication. In terms of what you say here, lead partner, I suppose the action leader or work group leader, those are naturally formed inside the partnership, totally independent. They organize themselves freely. It's their decision. And they do it by discussing and seeing who will be interested, who has the capacity, and how they want to do it. The partnership have a lot of independence. We must say they can decide a lot of things on their own.
Okay, Jonas, thank you, Alex. Isabella, maybe the next question.
Yes, we have another question. Could you please explain which is the difference between readiness to bring human and financial resources and commitment?
I think I can take also this one. We put the two terms, human and financial, because you might estimate, for example, I will have a full-time person for the next 3 years, but you can also say, okay, I will have less human resources, but we have, for example, the possibility to host 2 meetings on site, and we provide the space, the catering. You might have a certain tool that is maybe specifically needed for that, maybe a platform, and that could be used as an extra resource to contribute to the partnership. So if you write this, the other members will be able to know about it and consider and see how they link. I hope I managed to make it clear.
Yes, thank you, Isabella. Maybe the next question.
Yes, so we have another question. Can partners belong mainly to one country, or should they necessarily belong to several EU member states, partner states?
There is no rule here. You can be a partner linked to one of the eligible countries, so European Union plus the 2 partner states, Norway and Switzerland. Or you could be an institution. For example, there are often, or sometimes there are applications for umbrella organizations, such as organization of cities, which of course they don't represent this country where they are based. They represent the network, and therefore they are linked to multiple countries.
Thank you, Alexandru. So we have another question for Birgit about the water-sensitive city topic. For the water-sensitive cities, can architectural landscape architect offices participate in the category businesses?
Okay, in case, Jonas, you may correct me, I would say generally yes, as we have the category and other stakeholders, socio-economic partners and businesses. And of course, you have to meet all the other criteria in a sufficient or in a higher way. So probably not a small office will do it, as we think about outreach and these sort of questions. So if you feel you fit well within that partnership and can contribute, you can apply for.
Yes, I can confirm that's correct. But as Birgit said, there are several other selection criteria in this respect. And so please consider that it's not only the focus on the content itself. There are some other indicators that are important. As you mentioned, Birgit, the outreach, and you will see in the questionnaire, it's outreach to the EU, to member states, to other organizations, to other cities. This is important to mention, but per se, it's they are eligible, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Jonas. So we have another question. In both calls, should the 3 pillars be equally addressed?
Jonas, would
Alex,
you like
can you answer?
Yeah. So according to the governance document, I'm come back to the Pact of Amsterdam and Ljubljana Agreement, there is somewhere an indication that it is expected that the action plans that are designed will contribute to all 3 pillars. That is what they ask, and I think all partnerships have contribute to all 3 pillars, to what I remember. I'm not aware of any partnership where none of them were addressed, and I think that came very naturally. In terms of being equally addressed, I don't think that is needed. There could be actions that are focusing just on one component, so very specific action that go to the pillar of better regulation. There could be actions that contribute to 1 or 2, and those could be very different in the action plan when you do it, and in the application if you want to make a reference to this. I hope I really understood correctly the question.
Yeah, can I come in on that too? As while we were writing the ex-ante assessments, we read the review of the urban agenda that was done in the previous partnerships, and one of the recommendations that came out of that review was that the previous partnerships have been too weighted towards better knowledge and not enough onto the other two pillars. And so that's something to keep in mind as to when to form these partnerships.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Stephen and Alex, for answering this question. Isabella, we can take some more questions. We still have a couple of minutes time.
Yes, so we have another question about the application process. What is the ratio of applicants to partners accepted for a partnership?
From my experience in the past, and for the data that we accessed, the situation is very different because each topic raises a different level of interest. There are topics where get a lot of applications. There are topics that get a bit less applications, and that there are many reasons for that. I'm not aware by heart now to say about statistics, but I would say in generally they are the chances are quite good. If that's really very important, we can make a bit of estimation from the previous data we have and put it back in the question and answer document. It will be mentioned in a moment. This is the maximum I could say so far, but reality, very different situation based on topic.
Okay, thank you, Alessandro. Isabella, do we still have more questions? Yes, I see we have, maybe I can answer the next one directly.
Yes, so the next question is, according to existing experiences, are national authorities in general open to partnerships recommendations?
I could start here, and Jonas, if you also have your experience, you can say it. Again, I think this is very different depending on the topic and the context of national level. But I would say yes, sometimes it's not just that they are open, but sometimes they are contributing and cooperating about them. I can give several examples. The Culture Heritage Partnership had interesting work done on dissonant heritage, so heritage which has a difficult past based on several, let's say, symbolical aspects. For example, buildings that were related with different political system, but they have an architectural spatial value. And the ministries, in some cases, not just that they accepted it, but they also supported some of these debates. That is one example. And even in case of the Greening Cities Partnership, I know national authorities are contributed and supporting some of the actions directly, including those that have recommendations.
Maybe I can complement this. Thank you, Alex. Also, first of all, in all partnerships, from what I've seen, there were always national ministries represented, the member states, and these are the ministries that are responsible in the majority for urban planning, and they contribute a lot. We have also some ministries or some member states that even took over the coordination of such a partnership. And you can have, there are several studies already exist from the past experience, also from the first generation of partnerships that has been launched between 2016 and let's say 2020. And you can read and see that also in the governance structure of setting up a national urban policy, for example, some member states get some inspiration from the urban agenda process at all. So there are several parts. Yes, there are some actions that are directly proposed by the member states, and they are happy to receive an input to implement it and to include it into their national policy programs. And there are a couple of interesting examples. So we can answer this question with a yes. Isabella, can we continue?
Yes, maybe a last question about the partner countries. So we had this question not only from the UK, but also from Serbia and Moldova that are interested in the initiative, and they would like to know if they are eligible to apply.
I could answer this. So we're very happy that our partners from UK, Moldova, Serbia, Baltic countries, so on, are present with us. We appreciate that, and we look forward for different forms of cooperation. Unfortunate, based on the current governance documents we have, those eligible for this are those that signed the Ljubljana Agreement and the Pact of Amsterdam. Unfortunately, UK, Baltic countries, any other countries that are not European Union, with the exception of Norway and Switzerland, are unfortunately not eligible at the present moment. Why is Norway and Switzerland eligible and not the others? Because those two specific countries have signed the Ljubljana Agreement. If the colleagues from the Commission have more details, they could intervene, but this is what I know. In the future, things might change. We are happy that you're here and we look forward for cooperation, but this is the reality for now.
Yes, thank you, Alex. This question is also, you can find it in the question and answer document. It's only Norway and Switzerland that are acknowledged or recognized partner states of the urban agenda for the EU. We have just a few minutes left. I would like to close the question and answer session here. I would like to thank a lot Stephen and Birgit for your contribution, Alessandro for your explanations. And I would like to give now the floor to Isabella, and you remind us about the next steps and the timeline for the upcoming month and where to find the documents again.
Yes, thank you very much, Jonas. So just a few words about the call timeline, how we did get to this call and where we are going. So the two topics, they were endorsed in the Gijón Agreement in November 23. And then we carried out ex-ante assessments with the two experts, Birgit, Georgi and Stephen Lorimer, on the two topics from January until June this year. And then it was decided that the call for partners would be launched, and it actually opened already on the 28th of August, and it remains open until the 2nd of October at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, CET Brussels time. So this is very important that you apply. If you're interested, you apply before the 2nd of October at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Brussels time. And the final decision of the partnerships will then be decided at the DG meeting in November 24. And the partnerships will then be launched and start with a first meeting probably in December, only for the coordinators, and then the first official meeting of the full partnership probably in January 25. I think that we can go to the next slide. So the important documents that you should have a look at if you're planning to apply is especially the background document, where you find more detailed analysis as well about the topic, and find all the necessary information that you need in order to apply to this call. And you will also find on our website the ex-ante assessment reports from the two experts. If you're more interested and would like to do a deep dive into the topics, you could have a look at those. And then, of course, the application form on the EU survey website, and also the question and answer document that we mentioned already several times. I think that we can go to the next slide where we have more information about this document. So as well, all the questions that were not answered today, we will try together and group them together and then put them in this question and answer document, so you can have a look there. And yeah, you can find all frequently asked questions and the related answers. And if there's any question that you feel was not answered yet, or you can't find it in the document, you can always contact us via the contact form on the website. Or also, next slide, please. You can also use the email address urbanagenda@urbaninitiative.eu. You can find here the link to our website, and you can also find us on X and on LinkedIn. And then I would like to hand over for the final closing words to Tim Caulfield, our director, the director of the European Urban Initiative.
Thank you, Isabel. And also thank you everybody as well for attending. I think we had over 200 attendees at this event. It's the first applicant seminar actually that's happened for the urban agenda and the partnerships and the Caulfield partnerships as well. So I think it's been a great success. Thank you, but also thank you to Jonas and his team, to the experts, as well as to the Commission and the region for being here and putting it on. I think hopefully now people are informed about what the urban agenda is and what partnerships can offer, but also how to apply. And I hope you've been inspired as well by the topics, the interesting topics, water sensitive cities, as well as building decarbonisation, some very interesting elements to come out of these that you can be involved in for the future. We are looking for a good mix, a good balance of partners as well. It's not just for cities under 500,000 inhabitants, and that was a question that kept on coming up. It is a cross-balanced partnership. Just don't hesitate to apply. And if you're don't understand or still need some kind of confirmation, if you are eligible and you can apply, don't hesitate to contact us, and we'll get back to you as quick as possible. We want relevant, we want dynamic, we want knowledgeable as well as committed partners really to take forward the action plan development and put things in place on a content side of things, as Jonas said earlier. You're not alone. We have 7 ongoing partnerships already in place to actually that are implementing now, but also with experience of 20 partnerships that Jonas said at the very start as well. So there is experience on hand. But being a partner does mean commitment. There is work to do. So we need people to actively participate in these partnerships, to make the most of these partnerships and bring something out of them as much as possible. We are here to help. You've heard from Jonas, you've heard from Alexandru as well about the support we have in offer, the admin support, management support, expertise, travel accommodation, communication, dissemination, as well as the connection that we'll put in place between the partners and yourselves if you're lucky enough to be within one of those partnerships and supported. As Isabella said, please read the documents, please go through the FAQs, watch the videos, watch the testimonials. And we are here to help. As I said, the Secretariat is here to help you in any questions you have, so don't hesitate to contact us. One final point from me, the urban agenda is not the only thing that EUI delivers. If it's not for you this time round, look at the other activities that we are delivering as well. We've got a call for innovative actions on energy transition, technology in cities that is currently ongoing. We have capacity building activities, city-to-city exchanges, peer reviews, events that we're continuously putting in place as well across the member states. We've also got knowledge activities. We've got the online knowledge platform where you can get as much knowledge as possible under the theme that you're very interested in, as well as we're putting on policy labs, policy reviews, and an upcoming one is on cultural heritage at the end of September. So don't hesitate to look on our website and look at the other activities that might also help you in terms of your sustainable urban development. Finally, just one more comment is, as I said, thank you to Jonas, thank you to everybody for putting this in place, but we are very much looking forward to receiving these applications, looking to see who's interested and really helping the delivery of them for the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And now it's on to you to send us good application. I hope we could provide you with some clarifications and questions on the urban agenda itself and on the ongoing call. I'm surrounded here by a wonderful team that make this applicant seminar happen. So thanks to all of you. Also to Nathalie and Carlotta from the European Commission. Also thanks a lot for your support constantly. And now we close the meeting and I say goodbye and good luck. Thank you.